country's president and chief market strategist. Lou, it's one thing to start talking tough with China. It's quite another to start, putting tariffs on their goods or sanction Chinese companies altogether, or they with us. You know where this goes. Are we prepared for that? Do you think it'll ever come to that?
I think it needs to come to that because it's as much a national security issue as is an economic security issue. We've been enduring the worst inflation since the 70s. If we have to pay a couple extra points to secure our national security and maybe some economic supply chain security, I think you're seeing from the man on the street interviews that people are willing to do that. And here's an interesting thing. China needs us more than we need them. They're the #1 world export economy, exporting about $3.6 trillion worth of goods each year. That's double the levels in the last decade or so. And they're not the lowest cost producer anymore. So a recent study showed that there's 4 other countries that can produce goods and labor rates are much lower. So it's India, Mexico, Malaysia, and Vietnam. So it makes economic sense just as much as it makes political sense. But you hit the nail on the head, Neil, early on. We talk tough, but China doesn't respond to tough talk. They respond to tough actions, and that's what we've seen historically it takes. Tariffs, blacklisting some of their goods, banning exports to China of some high-tech technologies from the U.S. And unfortunately, the Biden administration in their latest, they have a vision but no real plan of action. So that is concerning from the geopolitical threats.
In the meantime, we got news out of China today that for the second time, I believe in a week, they cut a key interest rate. So their economy is hiccuping, to put it mildly. And the notion is as China goes, maybe so goes the rest of the world, or a market for our goods, a market for their goods here. Does that part worry you, the politics notwithstanding?
It used to worry me if we rewind about 10 years ago. I mean, their economy was supposed to, perpetually grow at 7, 8, 9, 10%. We just saw the latest revision, Citigroup downgrading the GDP growth numbers from 6.1 to 5.5%. Again, like I said, China is really relying on exporting to the rest of the world. So I think they're trying to stimulate the economy, the housing market in particular, but 10 basis points? I mean, come on, really. We laugh at the Fed now being 25 basis points not being that effective. So I don't know that 10 basis points really does the trick to re-stimulate the Chinese economy. And if you look at the markets, they're not really reacting in kind, worried about a slowdown in China like they may have in the U.S., maybe going back about 10 years ago when we talked about just globalization. We're in an era of deglobalization. So I think it's perfectly appropriate for U.S. stocks to be hitting new 52-week highs while China is still struggling to figure out their GDP growth.
Yeah, as we climb that wall of worry. In fact, we leap over it today notwithstanding. Good points all, Lou. Thank you very much. Lou Basenese.